collaboration of IEK with the foreign missions or other powerful associations like KEPSA, Kenya Manufacturers Association, because when we link up with those associations or foreign missions, they have things that they do that are of big impact that I myself as an individual may not be able to influence. But now through an association of engineers, which is IEK, if we approach a foreign mission, they can actually allocate a certain quota of the trainings or the scholarships that they offer as part of developing world support to be allocated to IEK. So those are some of the things that I have in mind, and I'm very convicted because I am a beneficiary of such. So I would want other young and senior engineers to benefit from those opportunities because they exist, and especially for people with a technical background, we have quite a lot of things in existence, but they might not be known. So I wish to bring them to the engineering fraternity and that everybody can take advantage of them. So in a nutshell, that's my manifesto, and I call it Visible Empowered Engineers with a Sustainable Impact. Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. So it's question time. Who has a question? I can mention the participants of Lifata, Cynthia, Lucy. I don't know who is Galaxy S9. Anyone who has a question or a comment to Engineer Lucy? Ndolo, you have a question?
I never miss questions. It's my nature. Engineer, talking of visibility, how are you going to advise the government? I can tell you for a fact, having lived outside, I know you also know that something like police statement should never be charged from somebody. I'm doing a proposal to the parliament. I don't know when I was able to submit it, whether with BBI or so, whereby in where I am right now, I don't need to go to a police to get a police report or a court report. I just log in. There's an e-citizen platform where I just log in my details, put on my ID number or my passport number or my telephone number, and everything will come out, whether I've been in court, or how many times I've been in court, how many times I've been in some other places. I can also be able to get entry and exit report every time the police wants. I go to apply for a new residential permit. I just go to the police office, or I go online and download it. How are you going to advise the government to ensure this? Because this is something that we need. We don't need to go to office. It makes like DCI office is always crowded. Yet there are other things the police and the investigators should be doing to help and take care of the security of the country. How are you going to tackle this to show the visibility from the engineering perspective? Secondly, how will you improve on mentorship, not within the southern Kenya? Central southern Kenya is already kind of well informed. We have Nairobi is there, everybody's more or less close to the towns, but we have people from Elwak, from Lodwar, from north of Isiolo, next to Ethiopia, where they don't even think that they're in Kenya. But we as engineers, as professionals, we should be able to bring some impact as a community outreach. How are you going to go about that kind of mentorship as a community outreach from the engineering perspective?
Okay. Thank you for the very valid questions, Ndolo. And yeah, as someone who has also lived in Germany or Sweden, I totally get what you mean. Like police issues, or when you have like something legal, it's quite easy because you have everything online. And I hope that further explains why digitization is powerful. Now, for us to be able to inform the government, I believe first we need to be visible. If I borrow a leaf from IEK, it should be possible that every week we are releasing like a newsletter, and our newsletter does not have to be purely engineering matters. we can also produce a newsletter that is related to how can engineers advise about security or government processes. Where do we play? And if this media keeps being seen in different platforms, or we reach out to the, let's say, CS Mosheru, he's a young person, I'm sure he's on Twitter. If he sees that we actually have ideas and we approach him and we can advise him, I believe he will listen to us. So first of all, we need to start by being visible and being heard, not just making noise, but actually writing, the way you call them, journals or weekly newsletters that sort of touch on every aspect of life. Because engineers can advise in any aspect of life, be it medical, be it security, be it the government operations. We can advise everything because we have the software or electronic or telecom engineers that can even have designs of pilot platforms, like go to approach the government and what you are saying exactly, develop a pilot platform and actually approach a CS like Musheru. If we did this, then this process of writing an OB, or you have lost something, you need to go to the police station, we can cut it short and make it efficient by doing it in such a way. So what that means is we also need to have a lot of contact and meetups with the policymakers, the CS of different departments, or the what is it called, the secretaries of the different departments, so that we are not just waiting to be asked. We are the ones going ahead and giving ideas. And if we are that visible, I believe they will call us to ask for our ideas in doing what they do better. We can even do visibility by like having student expos. Like this quarter in a year, you have a theme that is themed innovations by students in security, innovations in health. And so you invite those relevant CSs, and then they start saying, actually, engineers can give us home-based solutions on different solutions. So for me, to be able to influence them and advise them, they first must know that we exist and we actually have solutions. And it's part of this visibility thing that I'm talking about. Let's write journals, let's write informative articles, weekly newsletters that we make sure even get to the doors and the Twitter handles and any platform where these policy makers sit. And then we can be at the table of advising them what they can do better. About the marginalized community, that's a very valid point. And I agree, the ones in the urban areas like Nairobi, I think they are oversaturated with mentorship because all big companies around, they have challenges, they have mentorship sessions. So the easiest place they go is whatever is near them in the urban areas. So the plan I have in me that I would like to share with the next leadership if I win is that we should actually, at the beginning of every year, we should actually have a schedule of a mentorship schedule. And then to make this effective, then we need to make use of the Mashinani chapters. And by the way, I'm very proud of the South Rift chapter. It's like a pilot, a successful pilot that we all need to replicate in all the Mashinanis. So to be able to reach all the Mashinanis, like if we are talking about Mandera, Marsabit, first of all, there needs to be like an active chapter. And if it is not there, if South Rift is the most near neighboring chapter, then we prepare a mentorship schedule. And then the engineers who are based there, they have this schedule. And I think it should also qualify CPDs. And probably if someone is going to mentor in a high risk zone, I think they may need to qualify for higher CPDs, because if you're risking your life to go in mentor in Marsabit, where maybe a lot of engineers in Nairobi would not want to go, then we can also pass it as IEK that those who offer to go and mentor in the high risk zones might qualify for a higher quota of CPDs. So we make this mentorship schedule. And because Nairobi, the urban areas have been saturated, if we have said we are approaching 2 schools in the 47 counties, assuming we are just given a blanket number, 2 schools in every county in the year, so that makes it 94. But then we realize Nairobi has already been saturated. So we can reduce the mentorships in Nairobi and maybe give Nairobi 1 and then allocate Marsabit, Mandera more. That way we start reaching out to them. And then we tell the engineers who are in the chapters that are around there, the schedule looks like this, you can actually offer, and by going to mentor, you qualify for this number of CPDs. Because right now, the mentorships we have, having a schedule, having lived in the developed world, having a schedule sort of makes you plan the whole year. So if at the beginning of the year, we have a schedule and our target is to give more to the marginalized areas, then the schedule will show Mandera has 5 mentorship sessions in this year. And so we are going to spread it out in January, March, June, and then August, and maybe 2 in December. And then the engineers who are near there can go. And even the ones that are traveling from Nairobi, we give them the motivation of that they may earn higher because they are going away to a high risk zone. So those are some of the ideas I have, but I believe the schedule is important. And then to have more people traveling to the marginalized areas, maybe the ones in Nairobi, because they have technology. Again, we replicate this webinar and teleconference things to even do mentorship to schools or students that have technology. So we can also see how to embrace that so that we can have the physical concentration with one-to-one face-to-face contact moving more to the marginalized area. And when the students actually see engineers and they talk to them, they get motivated. So that's what I have in my mind. And of course, for the team, that one thing that I must say, no matter what team shall win, I am very keen that if I happen to be in the winning team, that our first meeting should be about sitting down and synergizing all these beautiful action plans and ideas that we have, and then arrange them from the lowest hanging fruit, what we can do easily that does not require a lot of resources, as we move to the more difficult ones. And even if I do not win in the executive council, I would still want to have the ideas that I have implemented either through a committee that I sit in or just as an advisor to the winners.
In one word, are you for graduate engineers? Not graduate engineers. I don't know why we insist on graduate engineer, but all members, because IEK still have crafts, still have technicians, still have technologies. Are you of the idea of all members be allowed to vote?
Yes, for me, I have always been of the idea of if you are a member, and because we are above 18 and we already contribute to other leadership decisions in our lives in the national government, then I think it's only fair that all members should be able to vote. If there is any controls that need to be put in place, assuming you have the technologists, the artisans, you have the Gs, if we don't want everybody to vote, we can also have representation voting. There are different mechanisms to make it work. Because I do not like the fact that we just label people by the titles. Rather, I would rather we focus on their ability, their experience, and the maturity in them. Because if you can participate in government decision-making of leadership, I don't see why it's a problem to just participate in decision-making of an association's leadership. Just that if we need any controls, we consult with, because they are stakeholders. Financially, they contribute. Not only financially, like myself, I started contributing to IEK as a volunteer in a committee. These people have ideas, they work in places, they are doing great things. So all that greatness needs to be brought into IEK. And I believe by embracing everyone, then everybody gets motivated to grow the institution to the next level. And this registration thing, maybe just by the fact that they are motivated to make decisions in their association, then they also get motivated to do their registration reports, in addition to having it being online and paperless.
Yeah. And so going by that, and it's unfortunate that this time round, not every member is going to vote. It's from associate, corporate, and fellow members who are voting. What will you do to ensure that we have, if you win, that is, to have some Gs in some committee?
Okay, so if I am in the leadership, and if there's a clause or a constitutional clause in IEK that maybe does not allow GEs to sit in committees, I would urge the entire leadership to sit down and we review this, because I say these people have talents. they have what they are doing already. They are engineers that have graduated from universities, so they can bring a lot of value to IEK. So if I am in the leadership, I would want to have an open stakeholders discussion, starting from the eminent to the consultants to the Gs themselves to even students. I think we need to start bringing in, when we are about to make a decision, I think we need to consult all the stakeholders of this society. So we sit in a stakeholder meeting and really discuss how can we have graduates contributing in the various committees. Because like when we talk about digitization without any prejudice, I think the people who are really gonna help with this journey of digitization, I think 90% come from our graduates. And probably we do not need to go outsourcing services from other providers. Within our own fraternity of graduate engineers, I believe there are qualified people who will help us make this dream of digitization a reality.
Webinar is free courtesy of some of them.
Exactly.
Now, I understand what point you're trying to bring. The idea is this: even the electronic voting is not allowed in the constitution, but we have agreed that we go electronically. Even
Through an SGM.
yes, but so can we have your word? Yes or no? Are you going to ensure that the constitution, yes, does not allow? It is said that the constitution does not allow graduate engineers to be in those committees. But you already, from your own statement, you started volunteering way before you became a PE.
Yes, and
So,
I was very useful.
so can, yes or no? Are you going to push for it?
Yes, I take my word. If it means we call an SGM to discuss about graduates contributing to committees, take my word. I'm going to push for that, and the pushing will be visible.
All right, thank you. Any other
Yes.
member with question? You can unmute the mic and ask.
Yeah.
I had told Diana at 7 I was supposed to go somewhere, so kindly, because I have a sickly mom and there's something I have to do at around 7:50.
In 6 minutes we can finish if everybody's okay.
Okay.
So let me just ask mine and even give a comment. Yeah, I love how you are intentional about visibility and even networks abroad. You know, I'm on my Africa Compt journey. Only Corona has brought some issues on, so of course postponement. So I'm more interested to know about your manifesto in terms of people with disability, or rather persons with disability, because we never see them in our events, we never see them in our classes. When we were in uni, even right now in masters, you'll never see them. I've never had an engineer who has a disability, or rather who is differently abled. How will you bring them on board? Because that's a marginalized community, for lack of better words, and they have ideas too. And how will you make it a safe space for them to work?
And
Right.
take it that I when I was in my undergraduate and my masters, I studied with many of them. Not the disability varies. The blind one, generally, most of them it's very hard to be in engineering, but some of them, I have one friend who is a very good software engineer and is blind.
Okay. That's a very good question, and as we do all these things, we are also learning and we are being reminded. It may not appear in my manifesto, but now that you have mentioned it and that I have seen it in other candidates' manifestos, I believe that's a very excellent idea. And someone who is always in Europe, I have seen how the disabled are really thought about, and in every building, like if you think about construction, it cannot be complete without thinking, how will you provide accessibility for the disabled? Another interesting aspect that I saw in my tech women exposure, one day we visited Yahoo, the headquarters of Yahoo. Believe you me or not, they have a section, an office, where they have the disabled people. And what they told us, they have realized people with disabilities have another special talent of discovering techie things that we, the normal ones, do not see. So they are actually using them to develop products that we have never thought about. And again, using products that would work for other disabled people and benefit them. So it's without question that we as IEK also need to have an agenda for the disabled. And apart from just having an agenda or having forums, where we talk about them. We can also make sure all projects that are coming up, make sure they consider disabled access. We reach out to universities and find out how are they making sure that as disabled people study, they are studying comfortably and they can access all lessons. When we were in Moi, one of our colleagues got an accident, and it was only by the sheer sacrifice of colleagues that people had to actually carry him upstairs. Someone had to sacrifice a room because he was in second floor in the hostel, and so someone sacrificed their ground floor room, and people would actually carry him to lecture halls that had staircases, because the university, when it was designed, I think they did not think about that. So as IEK, we can have a disabled and marginalized policy whereby every year, because those disabled people have an association. So the way I was saying, teaming up with different associations, if we want to really leapfrog and embracing having ideas on disabled people and making them able to operate normally, we can link up with their association, and anytime they have an activity, we team up together as the IEK Day with the Disability Association. We hear what are their thoughts, because from them we will get the actual solutions that we need to publicize and have them implemented. That is just off the cuff thought that I think we can start from.
So we have to take it from you that you're going to fight for gender parity, at the same time engineers with disabilities.
Yes, actually, I know I want to go, but in the last just 1 week, maybe because I'm a candidate anonymously, I have received 2 complaints of ladies being harassed in actually engineering organizations. So again, if we get into leadership as IEK, we must have a channel close to a Me Too movement to address such and stop propagation of these people getting harassed so that they can progress in their career. And it is very sad, and I would call upon people in our fraternity, if anyone does that to young people, I do not think is right. But now this is the time for IEK to even maybe introduce a new committee that thinks about disability, marginalized, and sexual harassment. How do we deal with it?
All right, engineer. I think
Like
because of your mom, I will allow you to give us a pitch, and then I can pick this gender violation, like sexual harassment rather, in engineering. Tomorrow for like 20 minutes, you can speak more about it, because it's something that is worrying. Young girls are being sexually harassed because they are looking for opportunity in engineering firms. So we can take some time tomorrow and you talk about it a bit, just maybe 20 minutes, just maybe me and you, and then we can post it for other people to look at. Okay?
Yeah, it's a topic that we need not to shy away of and really talk about it.
Yeah, so we will organize about it. So maybe give us a pitch, a final pitch, and as you call out for voters.
So I'm calling upon voters on the 23rd of March. First of all, make sure you understand how to vote. You will receive the link and the code in your SMS and in your email. So on 23rd, log in, vote in for Lucy as first vice president. By voting me in, you're voting digitization of your association and your processes, paperless registration, sustainability of the profession, and serious visibility addressing all matters, starting from opportunities, what we can offer, and even these sensible matters and that maybe we've not talked about, like harassment and how to deal with it, and the disabled. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for joining. Our guest today was Engineer Lucy Mutinda, and we wish her all. We pray that you all come out in large numbers and vote Lucy, vote a woman leadership, a mother leadership, and we hope to steer IEK to greater heights. Otherwise, thank you all. Thank you, my guest, and thank you, my co-host. In a few minutes, we will be having Professor Engineer Simiu Sitati coming on, and I wish you well, engineer, and I pray for quick recovery for your mom.
Thank you. That's my professor coming in, so I'll just watch the Zoom in the car.
All right. Otherwise, everybody, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.